Hello there. My name is Helene Ortman, and I'm a longtime volunteer with the Bright Run, and I also happen to be a breast cancer survivor myself. Today, it's my pleasure to be talking with David Balsdon. Welcome, David.
Well, thank you for having me, Elaine.
David, tell us what it is you do in your volunteer capacity at the Bright Run. It's event day co-lead, correct?
That is correct. Yes. So, key to that is co. I do have a partner in crime who works tirelessly along with me to make sure that everything is set in place for event day so that when people arrive, it looks like it's been set up for the year since they were there last time.
Okay. Give us a bit of a deeper dive into the kinds of things that you do in that volunteer role.
Yeah, fundamentally for me, it's ensuring that our contracts are all in place for various suppliers that are key to the success of the event. So things from the Hamilton Conservation Authority contract to use the park, our tents, our tables, the golf carts, our security, things of that nature, making sure we have photographers on site, reaching out for mascots to be on site, all of those things that just play that key role. And then other smaller things. A fun one for me is curating the playlist with the music that we play on event day. It is key to the success of the event. And then on setup day, it's really being there and being a traffic cop. There's a lot of people arriving with deliveries, so we need to make sure everybody knows where to go and when they need to be there to facilitate their delivery. And then on event day, I'm there, the first person there, usually by 5 a.m. in the dark. I run around with towels, wipe off the tables, the chairs, just whatever needs to be done before other people are getting out of bed. And then just keeping that flow going as everything is getting that final touch before the participants arrive.
No mean feat. David, how do you come up with the music playlist?
I'm a music fanatic and I have music on pretty well 24/7. So when I hear a song that I think fits the feeling of Bright Run, it gets automatically added to that playlist. And I listen to the playlist often. And some days I'll hear a song that I put on there and say, I don't think that one works this time. And so I'll pull it off. I'm just constantly listening. And we did do an outreach a few years ago asking participants to name their favorite motivational songs. So that was the genesis of it at the beginning. And then it's just been added to since then.
That's great. Name that tune.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm pretty good at that too.
So tell me, how many years have you been volunteering in this particular capacity?
Yes, I've been doing this now for, I think it's 8 years. I've lost track of time, as happens, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 years. And then I've been participating in Bright since year two. So 17 years as a participant as well.
And I would assume you mean participant in a team?
Yes, yes. I'm part of the Linear Accelerators Team, which is formed by a group of radiation therapists at the Juravinski Cancer Center. My wife is a radiation therapist at the center. She is also a breast cancer survivor. She was diagnosed at 43. And so, just through that connection, obviously, there was some, at the time, pressure to participate. And then it became a necessity that I do participate as the years went on.
That's great. So you've got a robust team, and I know your fundraising has been really quite amazing too.
Yeah, we've done well. We all leverage our personal and professional networks to get those donations in the door.
For sure. You were raffling off was it a gingerbread house?
Yeah, yeah, I did
Oh,
that. Yeah.
oh, I
So I'm a
love
real
that.
estate agent professionally, and there's a woman in Burlington who makes the most spectacular gingerbread houses. And so I order some for my clients. And I thought about that and I said, I need a custom Bright Run or breast cancer themed gingerbread house that I can donate and raffle off to raise funds for our team. And so that ended up raising $1,723 for Bright Run. It was a wonderful woman in Hamilton who was a survivor, and she delivered it to her daughter who has three young children for Christmas and said it was a magical success, were her words, I believe.
Oh, I bet. Thanks for sharing that story. In teasing it out, it's just another important part of information that we can share with established team captains, with incoming and new team captains. It's just amazing. There are the tried and true sort of fundraising strategies and tips, and then there are things that come right out of the box.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You just never know going to take, what will work. My wife and I have raised our children telling them the answer is always no if you don't ask. And so I think people are somewhat pensive at times to reach out to friends and family or coworkers to ask for support. But I think when you do, you will be absolutely amazed at the generosity of people and how they will come forward and support you.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's basically a cardinal rule for people who are fundraising. You simply need to ask the question.
And more than once,
Mhm,
because often you don't get a response on your first inquiry.
mhm.
If you follow up, whether you think you're bothering them or not, most likely they just forgot. And so those follow-ups are absolutely crucial to being successful.
David, I've seen you out at volunteer meetings and I've seen you, there at Bright Run Event Day, but I don't know you. You impress me as being so level-headed, so very calm, obviously professional. You know what you're doing in terms of event management. Where did you come to this from your background? And what kinds of personality traits do you have that make you so good at this job?
Mm. Well, thank you for that. I think generally people do think I'm a very calm, easygoing, level-headed person. Most people have never seen me mad. In a previous life, I ran a marketing agency, and it was an event marketing agency. So we put on running events all over the country, and also events of other types. So I'm able to leverage the skills I learned and absorbed from my teams to put that to good use for Bright Run. Overall, though, I think the key, we'll say, personality traits that one needs here are clearly organizational skills, because there are a lot of moving parts. You need to keep that on track as best as possible. Attention to detail, I think, is key. I always say the not so common sense. Sometimes what you think is right isn't, and you need to just sit back and say, okay, that makes sense. Let's just try let's pivot. So that's another one. And then I think also the ability to provide direction to people, but in a way in which they are motivated to execute, so that it's not directorial. It's much more collaborative in an approach to get things done.
When you say that, I can't help but think of our major leader, our Nancy McMillan. What would you say about her, David?
Tenacious. She does not stop. I honestly don't know how she does it. I don't think she ever worked this hard in her corporate career, and she is retired. So she is a force of nature. And I think you know as well as I do, Helene, she is one that you cannot say no to.
Mhm.
When Nancy asks you to do something, no matter what you want to say, the answer is always yes.
For those watching and listening who may not yet have met Nancy, we're talking about Nancy McMillan, who is the Bright Day event chair. And this is a person who is a force of nature. She herself is an 18-year plus breast cancer survivor. And she has been helping to lead this event for, I believe, 14 of its 18 plus years. So she's absolutely a role model and a visionary. So just so everyone understands, that's who we're talking about when we talk about Nancy McMillan. David, if you yourself were a drone flying above the Bright Run event in September, looking down at it, what would you be seeing?
I would hope I'd be seeing a bright, warm, sunny day, because we do have a little bit of history with rain on Bright Run. I would expect to see a lot of people wearing pink, but also a lot of people wearing blue, which is the color of our volunteer shirts. The event survives on an army of volunteers. I would certainly hope to be hearing some great laughter and music in the background, and just watching people having a great time.
What I'm wondering is, in terms of the volunteer role that you have, Event Day co-lead, what would you say is such a very rewarding thing for you?
The smiling faces on event day. Over the years of being involved in putting on the event, I get to know more people in a different way. And so year after year, I have people that come up to me and just want to give me a big hug and tell me that they're back again this year. I love seeing that. And then just overall, it's seeing our community come together for a common cause to do some good.
hmm hmm yeah, for sure, for sure. And aside from the actual fundraising success of Bright, which is absolutely critical in terms of the money Bright raises to fund breast cancer research locally, how else would you measure success?
Exposure and awareness. It's so important that what we do generates awareness beyond just our immediate group of participants and volunteers. The more awareness and exposure that we can get, we can possibly generate more donations for our own event, but also just in general for cancer research. To me, those are the two key things that we can hope for out of this is just a broader reach, which would hopefully translate into more money raised so that one day, hopefully, Bright Run is no longer needed because there's a cure for breast cancer.
Let's hope for that, David.
You
A
bet.
challenging question. If you had to sum up the Bright Run in one or two words, what might they be?
Yeah, the words I talk about often are inspirational. Anybody who has been to one of our events, they know exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot leave Bright Run without a smile on your face.
Mhm.
There's no other event I've ever been to that even I'm exhausted, but I leave feeling completely uplifted. And then the other word is hope. We're all there ultimately for hope. We hope that we can find a cure one day, and I think that it's in the back of our minds. It's not a word we use often, but it's there, and it's one of the key reasons why we do what we do because we're hoping for a cure.
Mhm. On behalf of the Bright Run community, David, and also those people who are going to join us for the very first time this year, and they will be welcomed with open arms, I just want to thank you so much for your time, for the information you've given us in terms of your vantage point of the Bright Run, for the enormous job that you and your team does. A huge thank you. And so look forward to seeing you out at this year's Bright Run.
Likewise, it's going to be a great day once again.